STV, votre télé.
Following gruesome killings, the burning of houses, relocation of persons and kidnappings in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon, the president of Cameroon, Paul Biya, has ordered for the release of a sum of 12.7 billion CFA francs as emergency humanitarian assistance plan to victims affected by the current Anglophone crisis in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. In this light, political analysts and inhabitants of Boya have been reacting differently to such gesture while analyzing its possibility of bringing a favorable end to the current Anglophone crisis. Going by Barrister Agbobala, such giant step by the Cameroon government has been highly appreciated while citing the need for government to first create a peaceful environment which has been threatened in the two English-speaking regions of Cameroon.
That government has decided to give humanitarian aid is something which is laudable, which should be appreciated, which should be supported. We cannot only provide humanitarian aid without going to the root causes of the crisis, without going to the root causes of why these refugees close to 50,000 are in Nigeria, without looking at why the close to 200,000 people in the southwest and the northwest have been internally displaced, and more are being displaced each passing day.
Mr. Quincy Johnson, SDF district chairman in Boya, further says demilitarizing the villages and ensuring the release of all those arrested will be a concrete solution to the crisis.
Government would have released the people who are in detention, particularly the leaders who are said to be in Yaoundé, but nobody has seen them. If these people are out and the atmosphere is calm, you can then send someone to go with money. But when people are hiding in bushes and you are going with money, one of the dangers is that some quick persons will come out now to take money to go and distribute to people. The money may end in people's pockets.
To the man on the street,
I think the 12.7 billion that has been allocated by the president of Cameroon is not even part of the solution to the problem, because they have to trace the problem from the root cause, and then from that area they can think of the solution.
To this effect, government's positive reply to the cry of the people is highly awaited, as over 200,000 persons have been displaced within and without Cameroon.
According to Prime Minister Philemon Yang, over 12.7 billion francs CFA has been allocated to assist victims of the ongoing Anglophone crisis in the two English-speaking regions of the country. This emergency humanitarian action that would be carried out to internally displaced persons in the Anglophone regions and those seeking refuge in Nigeria who shall in the days ahead be assisted with food, shelter, water, psychosocial assistance, hygiene and sanitation. Damaged infrastructures as a result of the Anglophone crisis shall also be rehabilitated. The man on the streets in Bamenda has been reacting to this emergency humanitarian gesture coming from the Cameroon government.
It's a beginning of something better. When we talk about emergency, it means something that has to be, that action has to be taken immediately. It's a humanitarian crisis. I think the government is right to intervene.
It is even late, because for 2 years the northwest now and southwest now they are in trouble. Although they say it's better to be late than never, we appreciate it, because almost all the sector in the northwest is victim of this crisis. There is no family in the northwest who is not victim. My fear is how they will go about it.
I see a couple of basic needs, immediate needs for the people who have been displaced, and I think that they deserve those needs. We must also work on the legitimacy of those who will be in the ad hoc committee that has been announced by the Prime Minister. There must be people accepted if we must be able to reach out to all those who are in need. I also personally think that the President of the Republic would have been the person to deliver such a plan with an apologetic tone to the nation, because the nation is bleeding.
Government has to take its own responsibility. Without to remain like that, without any initiative, bring a lot of suspicion. So I think population, all the citizens are more motivated to contribute. Even myself, I can give my personal contribution to that initiative. It's not normal to see people run in the bush and without food, without any commodity.
Barrister Vega Roland, a human rights activist, has also appreciated the Cameroon government's emergency humanitarian plan towards victims of the Anglophone crisis, but still believes dialogue would have been the best option at this point in time.
I don't think money can replace dialogue. I believe that money is a good initiative, but dialogue comes first. You need to appease and talk with the persons face to face, those who are affected, and maybe with the elites of the two regions, talk with them, go down and talk with them. And the next question I'm asking is, the Musonge Commission that recently visited Bamenda, what has become of the report? Is it the 12 billion coming as a result of the Musonge Commission? Because when you listen to the Prime Minister, you don't get the proposals from the Musonge Commission.
Many believe the 12.7 billion francs CFA is already available for this emergency plan, but Barrister Vega Roland differs here, as he believes this money would be realized through contributions. But how would the people of the Northwest and Southwest region contribute when the economy has been affected by the crisis?
But the money, 12 billion, is a huge sum of money. But from my own understanding, I want to believe, from what I understood, is that there will be contributions by Cameroonians. The question is, does the economy of the Northwest and Southwest, as part of Cameroon, those who are in these two regions, would they have the financial capability to contribute in that national fund? Looking at the economy for the last 2 years, I believe the money is not, the 12 billion is not money that is kept somewhere that they can use for the new fund.
He also believes the reports about those who have lost their lives as a result of the crisis was biased, especially on the part of the civilians.
Today, I think they have a good will in solving the problems of the Anglophone in the Northwest and Southwest region. But I have some questions and doubts with the report he presented. The first thing I wish to ask is, the comprehensive report of those who have died on the side of the military was like almost complete in that report. The question now is, what about the civilians? I did not hear of the comprehensive report of those civilians who have died.
About 13 billion francs CFA is the amount to be churned into the National Emergency Solidarity Plan, designed for the population of the restive Northwest and Southwest regions. Economists indicate that the budget is provisionary.
Les montants ne sont pas établis. C'est-à-dire, il n'y a pas eu encaissement.
The amount has not yet been established, meaning income and expenditure is not yet physical. Government just believes that this is what we can get in the course of the year, and from there we can spend.
Et pendant toute cette année, en fonction de ce que nous devons avoir, voici comment nous allons le dépenser.
Government hopes to raise the money from the state budget. However, the current budget is being executed, raising questions as to how the sum can be realized.
C'est arrêté en termes budgétaires. Tout est ouvert.
The budgetary year is still not closed. It is still open. We are still in the seat year. Other surpluses from our usual revenue sources will come up, and that will be used for the plan.
Qui peut permettre à l'État de faire ce qu'il envisage de faire en termes d'urgence.
Goodwill contributions, as in the case of the Boko Haram insurgency, will also help to raise the money, while a chip from international humanitarian organizations is also expected to swell the package. However, economists are of the opinion that Cameroon can do without external help.
J'ai prévu pour cette affaire, mais que je dirais 13 milliards.
The amount is barely 13 billion, and the state is capable of raising the money without the help of international humanitarian bodies.
D'aide ou aux organismes humanitaires internationaux.
Reliance on external support, economists predict, might see external support on the Cameroon government for it to find a sustainable, concrete solution to the ongoing crisis.
from a political standpoint, we see that there's great political value in this emergency humanitarian assistance plan that has been put in place, in the sense that by putting in place this emergency humanitarian assistance plan, the president has manifested his conscience, his Republican conscience for his fellow citizens of the Northwest and Southwest regions. Through this decision, it shows the president is manifesting his personal will, his personal goodwill, and his Republican leadership in favor of his fellow citizens of the Northwest and Southwest regions, whom he is concerned about their welfare. He's concerned that they have been in distress all these months, almost 18 months. He's concerned that their lives have been destroyed, and he knows that they are his fellow citizens. And in his republicanism and the leadership that he brings to bear on that republic, he sees that his fellow citizens of the Northwest and Southwest regions need for the entire nation, under the leadership of the President of the Republic, for the entire nation to come together to, first of all, provide this humanitarian assistance in an urgent and emergency manner, because, again, we must not lose sight of the urgent or the emergency character of this plan. He understands that this plan, therefore, from a political standpoint, puts the nation at the disposal of the populations of Northwest and Southwest in a spirit or in a framework of national solidarity that shows that, as far as Cameroon is concerned, we are all one nation, we are all one, and if anything happens to any one region or any two regions, all the other regions under the Republican leadership of the president come to protect, to assist where assistance is needed everywhere. That the president did that before, as you know very well, a few years ago, when the Boko Haram terrorists disrupted the lives of the peoples, the peace-loving peoples of the extreme north. The whole nation came to their rescue, the whole in a spirit of national solidarity. So politically, the president's decision to put in place this emergency plan, a humanitarian assistance plan, makes Cameroon, in the eyes of the world, a nation that is not only organized, a nation of solidarity, a nation of compassion.
$86,534 is the number of persons registered on the Littoral Electoral Register from January to this June 21, 2018. These figures were made known to the Elecam President and General Director of Elections during a working visit in Douala. The come together was an opportunity for Elecam littoral workers to table their grievances. Limited staff, few working equipment both for the registration process and in the office itself, acting as a hindrance to the work of Elecam personnel. Problems which the Elecam president said would be looked into. To Eno Abrams Egbe, focus should be on professionalism, collaboration and hard work as a means of achieving set goals. The president of the Electoral Council did not fail to remind littoral Elecam workers on the asterisks of 2018. On the wake of elections, it is therefore primordial to map out strategies together for a common goal. Members of the Electoral Council and littoral workers exchanged on modes of ending disputes, moving forward and making elections Cameroon more dynamic. During today's meeting, it was equally revealed Elecam Littoral has 72 new operational election kits, 75 old with just 50 of them still functional, 1,231 voting centers and 2,854 voting offices.
Makossa and Bikutsi has for decades remained the best-known music from Cameroon since the 1950s till date. The Makossa musical genre gained popularity across Africa and beyond with the likes of Moni Bile, Douleur, Bebe Manga, Petit Pays, Ben Deka, Dedi Eyango and many others. Makossa moved to Paris, France, and a new pop Makossa emerged. Socio-political issues, love, deception and religion constituted their lyrical format, which are still influential to date. However, music today in Cameroon has little or no future for the next generation to serve on with songs of this kind. Though very few of them are making an attempt to leave a mark in the Cameroon musical scene. Back then, in the yesteryears, Makossa and Bikutsi were laid solid foundations in the globe thanks to the love they had for each other. Collaboration amongst the different artists was perfect, unlike what exists today, tussling for fame and worth. It is only when this young breed of musicians will get to realize this fact that they too will be remembered even after death.
Jean-Ernest Massinangale Bibehe started his tour Wednesday with a stopover at dissolved services of his ministry. As tradition demands, he was welcomed by officials of the regional delegation, where he was briefed on the daily activities of the littoral delegation of transport, as well as the divisional service of the Vuri division. The transport minister then proceeded to the Maritime Museum and later the head office of the Cameroon National Shippers Council. Here, he exchanged with officials on the diversification of the body's resources as well as its legal status. Thursday's lap of the tour took the minister to the Douala International Terminal, where he noted with satisfaction the performance of the facility. At the single window shop for foreign maritime transactions, guichet unique, Jean-Ernest Massinangale Bibehe praised the efforts made so far to ease port operations, stressing that it will reduce corruption and circulation of fraudulent documents resulting from cumbersome paperwork. The minister was also received by officials of the Land Freight Bureau BGFT, who lauded efforts made so far by the ministry to address some of their grievances. He is expected to end his contract tour Friday with visits to Cambrai, the Douala Ports Authority and Sokatu.
U.S. withdrawal from the UN Human Rights Council comes after the organization voted last month to investigate the deaths of Gaza protesters by Israeli forces. It also comes amid growing criticism of the new U.S. policy of separating illegal immigrant parents from their children at the U.S. border with Mexico. But the Trump administration has considered leaving the council for at least a year.
As President Trump said at the UN General Assembly, It is a massive source of embarrassment to the United Nations that some governments with egregious human rights records sit on the Human Rights Council.
While not addressing the administration's policy on migrants, Pompeo said the United States will not be lectured by organizations whose members include human rights offenders such as China, Cuba, and Venezuela.
The United States, which leads the world in humanitarian assistance, and whose service members have sacrificed life and limb to free millions from oppression and tyranny, will not take lectures from hypocritical bodies and institutions as America selflessly give their blood and treasure to help the defenseless.
Haley accused the Council of what she called chronic bias against Israel.
Earlier this year, as it has in previous years, the Human Rights Council passed 5 resolutions against Israel, more than the number passed against North Korea, Iran, and Syria combined.
The U.S. envoy said the Council is motivated by political bias and not by human rights. She said U.S. efforts to reform the organization have been blocked by countries who are not free and don't want to be scrutinized. She named Russia, China, Cuba, and Egypt.
We take this step because our commitment does not allow us to remain a part of a hypocritical and self-serving organization that makes a mockery of human rights.
Critics say the U.S. withdrawal will enable countries with poor human rights records to rewrite the Council's agenda, allowing erosion of rights worldwide. Haley and Pompeo said the United States will continue to lead on human rights from outside the UN organization. Zlatica Houk, VOA News, Washington.
The reception was alluring. As Cameroonian club fans of French Ligue 1 side Olympique de Marseille residing in Yaoundé all drove down to Douala to be officially presented to the public as die-hard supporters of OM. Conducting the ritual was Alexandra Requina, who led a powerful delegation from France down to Cameroon. A dream that has come to reality today, all thanks to André Frank Zambo Anguissa, who plays as a center midfielder for the club. It explains why former Indomitable Lion Salomon Olembe, who once in his career was part of the Olympique de Marseille squad, answered present at the ceremony in show of solidarity. However, Zambo Anguissa expressed his gratitude to all the fans for standing by him since 2015 when he joined the OM squad and hope that the fraternity that exists shall continue to work strong. Supporters t-shirts and other supporters gadgets were distributed to the fans who have promised their unflinching support to their darling team Olympique de Marseille, a gesture quite commendable and worth emulating by other European clubs to ensure Cameroonians and Africans as a whole feel connected more than ever before to their respective clubs in different European championships.
STV, votre télé.